The first human ship that entered the Black Rift disappeared without sending a single distress signal. That alone terrified the galaxy. The Black Rift was not a place where civilizations traveled willingly. It was a dead zone between spiral arms, a region of endless darkness where stars vanished from maps and navigation systems failed without explanation. Ancient species called it cursed space. Others called it the grave ocean. But humans called it opportunity. That was the difference. For 2 centuries humanity had shocked the galaxy again and again. They colonized frozen moons that cracked steel. They survived radiation storms that melted alien nervous systems. They fought wars while outnumbered 10 to 1 and somehow came out smiling with coffee in their hands. The council species respected humans. They also feared them, because humans always walked toward danger instead of away from it. So when the exploration vessel Horizon crossed into the Black Rift, every major civilization expected one thing: death. Then the Horizon vanished. No wreckage. No signal. Nothing. 3 months later a second human fleet entered the rift. The council begged them not to go. Admiral Elias Ward listened to every warning in silence before speaking a single sentence. "If our people are in there, we bring them home." The transmission spread across hundreds of worlds. Some species admired the loyalty. Others called it madness. The fleet consisted of 8 warships and 1 deep scan carrier. The humans loaded enough weapons to flatten continents even though the mission was officially labeled rescue and recovery. That detail made the council nervous. Especially the Variks. The Variks were predators evolved from armored reptilian hunters. Massive creatures with silver eyes and blade-like claws. They had conquered 13 systems before the Galactic Alliance stopped them centuries earlier. Even the Variks feared the Black Rift. One Variks commander privately contacted Admiral Ward before the fleet departed. "You do not understand what sleeps there," the alien warned. Ward answered calmly. "Then we'll learn." The transmission ended. 3 days later the human fleet crossed the boundary. At first the rift looked empty. No stars. No nebulae. Only darkness. Even light behaved strangely inside the region. Sensors flickered. Distances changed. Entire sections of space appeared distorted like ripples moving through black water. The crews grew uneasy. Human crews joked to hide fear, but fear still existed. Lieutenant Mara Levin sat in the observation deck of the battleship Resolute staring into the darkness outside. "It feels wrong," she whispered. Commander Holt looked over her shoulder. "Space always feels wrong." "No," Mara said quietly. "This feels alive." Before Holt could respond, alarms exploded across the bridge. Contact detected. The entire ship shifted into combat readiness instantly. Range unknown. Visual trying to stabilize. Then the darkness moved. Not a ship. Not debris. Something enormous drifted slowly through the void ahead of them. The image sharpened on the main display. Silence filled the bridge. Even hardened soldiers stopped breathing. The thing was colossal. A creature. Dead. Its body stretched nearly 40 kilometers long. Black armored flesh covered with jagged protrusions. 6 skeletal limbs extended from a torso split open by catastrophic wounds. The creature's head resembled a nightmare fusion between an insect and deep-sea predator. Thousands of dead white eyes covered its skull. Its mouth alone could have swallowed cities. No species in the galaxy had ever seen life on that scale. Mara felt cold sweat run down her back. "What the hell is that?" someone whispered. Nobody answered. Because nobody knew. The corpse floated silently through the darkness like a dead god. Then sensors detected more. Another corpse appeared. Then another. Dozens. Massive alien monsters drifting endlessly through the Black Rift. Every one of them dead. The bridge became deathly quiet. Admiral Ward's voice finally came through the fleet channel. All ships hold formation. No one approaches the bodies until we understand what we're looking at. His voice remained calm, but the crew could hear tension underneath. The scan teams worked non-stop for hours. Results only deepened the horror. The creatures possessed biological structures unlike anything recorded. Their tissues contained impossible energy signatures. Several corpses showed wounds from weapons no known civilization possessed. Something had killed them. Something powerful enough to exterminate monsters larger than moons. That realization changed everything. Because if something could kill these things, what could possibly kill it? Mara joined a research team sent to inspect the nearest corpse. The shuttle drifted toward the gigantic carcass while floodlights illuminated black flesh scarred by ancient battle damage. It looks old, one scientist muttered. How old? Could be millions of years. The shuttle landed near a massive wound cavity. The humans stepped onto the creature's surface cautiously. Gravity boots locked against flesh harder than steel. The smell inside the suit filters was terrible even after ages of decay. Mara looked around nervously. The surface resembled scorched volcanic rock mixed with bone. Then she noticed something strange. Marks. Perfectly straight cuts. Not claws. Not teeth. Weapon strikes. Captain, she said slowly. You need to see this. The team gathered near the wound. Embedded deep inside the monster's flesh was metal. Human metal. Old human metal. Mara's heartbeat stopped. No way. The scientists carefully extracted the object. It was damaged but recognizable. A human missile fragment. Everyone stared at it in disbelief. That's impossible, someone whispered. The Horizon had been the first human vessel inside the rift. Yet this fragment was ancient. Much older. Then the realization hit them all at once. Humans had been here before. Long before the Alliance even existed. The discovery triggered classified archives aboard the flagship. Admiral Ward entered a secure chamber where the fleet AI unlocked restricted files hidden beneath military encryption older than modern civilization. Only one sentence appeared on screen. Project Nightfall authorization accepted. Ward felt ice crawl through his veins. He had heard rumors of Nightfall during military training. Whispers about a secret buried so deeply that even admirals considered it myth. The files opened. Ward stared in horror. Humanity had encountered the monsters before. Not recently. 40,000 years ago. Before modern history. Before Earth civilization even recorded written language. The files described an extinction war. The monsters were called Vorakai. Interdimensional apex predators capable of consuming planetary biospheres. They moved through dark space between galaxies feeding on intelligent life. According to the records, humanity should have been exterminated during first contact. Instead, humans fought back. Primitive humans. Ancient humans. The files described impossible battles fought by a forgotten civilization far older and more advanced than current humanity. A civilization erased from memory. Project Nightfall was humanity's final weapon. The records ended abruptly after one chilling line. The Vorakai were contained inside the Black Rift. Ward slowly looked up from the screen. Contained. Not destroyed. A cold realization formed in his mind. The monsters drifting outside were not victims. They were prison guards. Something far worse remained alive deeper inside the rift. Then alarms screamed across the flagship. Massive energy spike detected. All ships' battle stations. The fleet shook violently. Outside, the void itself twisted. The dead monsters began moving. Not alive. Pulled. Something in the darkness dragged the gigantic corpses aside like toys. And then it appeared. At first, the human mind refused to process the shape. It was too large. Too wrong. The creature emerged slowly from the blackness behind the drifting carcasses. A mountain of living darkness. Its body stretched across hundreds of kilometers, covered in shifting armored plates and glowing red fractures. Vast tendrils unfolded around it like wings made from shadow. The stars themselves disappeared behind it. Every human aboard the fleet felt primal terror slam into their nervous systems. Several crew members collapsed instantly. One scientist began screaming uncontrollably. The creature opened its eyes. Thousands of crimson lights ignited across its surface. Then every screen in the fleet activated simultaneously. A voice entered human minds directly. Nothing should have survived. Blood streamed from Mara's nose as she struggled to remain conscious. The voice was not language. It was pressure. Ancient. Hungry. The monster stared directly at the fleet. You are not the first humans. Admiral Ward forced himself to speak. All ships prepare weapons. The creature continued. We killed your makers. The bridge fell silent. Makers. The ancient civilization. The forgotten humans. Ward's hands tightened. What are you? The answer shook the fleet. We are the end of civilizations. Then the creature moved. Faster than physics allowed. One of the human destroyers vanished instantly beneath massive tendrils. The ship folded like paper before exploding into white fire. The fleet opened fire. Rail cannons. Nuclear torpedoes. Laser batteries. Enough firepower to destroy planets. The attack struck the creature and disappeared into its black armor without effect. The monster laughed inside their minds. Pathetic. Another ship died. Then another. Human vessels scattered across the darkness firing desperately while the giant entity hunted them effortlessly. Mara gripped her console. We can't hurt it. Ward's eyes remained fixed on the ancient files beside him. Project Nightfall. Containment protocols. Then he saw it. A final hidden entry. Authorization requires human genetic command. Below the text sat coordinates deeper inside the rift. Ward understood immediately. The ancient humans left something behind. A weapon. Maybe their last weapon. Set course for these coordinates, Ward ordered. What about the creature? We run. The fleet accelerated instantly. The massive entity followed. Human ships raced through distorted darkness while the monster pursued them like a cosmic predator. One cruiser failed to jump in time. The crew never even screamed. Hours passed in relentless pursuit. The fleet dwindled. 8 ships became 5. Then 4. Every soldier aboard understood they were witnessing extinction. Not defeat. Extinction. Finally the scanners detected structure ahead. Mara stared at the screen in disbelief. A station. A gigantic artificial construct hidden inside the rift. Ancient human design covered its surface. The station resembled a mechanical planet wrapped in colossal weapon systems. Lights flickered across its hull as the fleet approached. Then a transmission activated automatically. Human genome confirmed. Welcome home. The station awakened. Thousands of dormant systems roared back to life after 40,000 years of silence. The pursuing monster slowed for the first time. And humanity realized something astonishing. The creature was afraid. Ward ordered immediate docking. Human teams rushed into the ancient station while automated systems activated around them. Massive doors opened. Defense arrays unfolded. Entire sections of the station powered online. The central chamber contained a single figure. A human. Or what remained of one. The body sat frozen inside a mechanical throne connected to endless machinery. Ancient armor covered the corpse like blackened steel. Its eyes suddenly opened. Mara stumbled backward in shock. The ancient human looked directly at them. Status, the corpse whispered. Ward stepped forward carefully. Humanity survived. For the first time emotion crossed the ancient figure's face. Relief. Then we bought enough time. The ancient human introduced himself as Commander Adrian Kane, last commander of the original human civilization. The civilization erased from history. Kane explained everything. 40,000 years earlier, humanity discovered the Vorakai beyond the galaxy. The monsters consumed civilizations endlessly. Entire star nations vanished before them. Humanity fought alone after other species surrendered. The war lasted centuries. Billions died. Worlds burned. Eventually, humans created the Black Rift prison using experimental dimensional technology. They trapped the Vorakai inside. But the cost destroyed human civilization itself. The survivors chose a final sacrifice. They erased advanced technology from history and restarted humanity on Earth as primitive tribes, hoping one day their descendants would rise again free from the horrors of the old war. Kane and his soldiers remained behind as eternal wardens. Waiting. Watching. Dying slowly. Mara struggled to absorb the truth. So all of human history was our second chance, Kane answered. Alarms interrupted them. The giant entity approached the station. Kane's expression darkened. The prison is failing. Massive impacts shook the station. Outside, the ancient defense weapons fired for the first time in 40 millennia. Beams larger than cities tore across space. The Vorakai screamed. Entire sections of its armor exploded away. But it kept coming. There are too many, Kane warned. You only see the last survivor outside. The others sleep beneath the rift. Everyone froze. One. Mara whispered. Kane nodded slowly. If the prison collapses, the galaxy dies. Ward looked at the tactical display. The station weapons were powerful. Not powerful enough. The Vorakai slammed against the station repeatedly while energy shields weakened. Mara stared at the ancient commander. There has to be another way. There is. Kane activated a hidden display. A singularity core deep beneath the station began charging. Ward immediately understood. You're going to destroy the rift. Kane nodded. The explosion will collapse this entire region into a quantum grave. Nothing inside survives. And you? Kane smiled faintly. We died 40,000 years ago. Silence filled the chamber. Ward looked at his surviving crews. Exhausted humans covered in blood and ash. Every one of them understood the choice. Run and doom the galaxy later. Or stay and finish the war their ancestors started. Mara spoke first. We stay. Others nodded. Not one human argued. Kane looked at them with something close to pride. The old humanity truly survived. The battle began minutes later. The ancient station unleashed hell across the Black Rift. Human ships fought beside forgotten defense systems against the last Vorakai Titan. The darkness burned with white explosions. Human pilots flew directly into impossible combat zones to protect the station core. They knew escape was unlikely. Nobody retreated anyway. Because humans never retreated from monsters. The Vorakai finally breached the outer shields. Tendrils crashed through entire sections of the station. Ancient soldiers awakened from cryostasis to join the fight beside modern humans. Two eras of humanity fought together. Past and present united against extinction. Mara found herself fighting through collapsing corridors beside warriors who had lived before recorded history. One ancient marine reloaded his rifle calmly while explosions shook the walls. You descendants fight uglier than we did, he laughed. Mara grinned despite the chaos. We learned from the best. The station core reached 90%. The Vorakai sensed danger. Its attacks became desperate. Massive claws tore through the station hull toward the singularity chamber. Ward realized the creature would reach the core before detonation. Unless someone stopped it. He activated the fleet channel. All remaining ships form attack vector Sigma. Every captain understood instantly. Suicide run. Human warships accelerated directly toward the Vorakai, weapons firing continuously. The creature turned toward them just as the ships overloaded their reactors simultaneously. 3 human vessels detonated like newborn stars. The blast ripped enormous sections from the Vorakai's body. The monster screamed loud enough to fracture metal. But still it moved. Still alive. Still coming. Kane looked at Ward quietly. One final delay. Ward nodded. The 2 commanders shook hands. Ancient humanity. Modern humanity. Same species. Same stubbornness. Then Kane sealed the chamber doors behind him and walked alone toward the breach. Mara watched through security feeds as the ancient commander stood before the advancing horror. Tiny compared to the monster. Yet unafraid. The Vorakai lowered its massive head toward him. You again. Kane lifted an old human weapon slowly. A simple rifle. The kind carried by soldiers for thousands of years. You should have stayed dead. Quote. Then the ancient commander charged the cosmic monster alone. Humanity watched him disappear beneath darkness and fire. The core reached 100%. Ward grabbed Mara's arm. Emergency jump now. The surviving ships fled the station seconds before detonation. Behind them the black rift collapsed into blinding white light. Space folded inward. The station. The Vorakai. The ancient humans. All consumed. The shockwave expanded silently across the void before everything vanished. Then there was only darkness again. Normal darkness. The rift was gone. Hours later the surviving human ships drifted quietly at the galaxy's edge. No celebrations came. Only silence. Too many were dead. Too much had been learned. Mara stood beside Admiral Ward watching distant stars. So what happens now? She asked softly. Ward looked toward the endless galaxy. We remember. The truth eventually reached the Galactic Alliance. At first no species believed it. Ancient humanity. Cosmic monsters. A forgotten extinction war. It sounded impossible. Until human ships returned carrying ancient data and battle recordings. The galaxy reacted with horror. Then humanity had not become feared because they were violent. Or reckless. Or warlike. They were feared because when the darkness came for everyone else, humans stood and fought. Again and again. Even across 40,000 years. The surviving races later built monuments to the ancient human civilization that saved existence itself. Most species called them guardians. The Variks used another word. Monsters. Not because humans were cruel. But because only monsters fight nightmares without surrendering. Centuries later children across the galaxy learned about the Battle of the Black Rift. They learned how humanity faced creatures larger than worlds. How ancient soldiers gave their lives so future generations could exist. How modern humans returned willingly into hell to save strangers they never knew. And every version of the story ended the same way. With the final transmission recovered from Commander Adrian Kane moments before the rift collapsed. A message sent to the future. A message meant for humanity itself. If you are hearing this, then we were right about you. You became stronger than us. Kinder than us. Better than us. But never forget what lives in the dark. And never forget what humans become when monsters threaten their home.